looking live at CHGO Bears After Dark. No one is more ready for this show than these three people, including myself, who we're about to talk to, including Greg Braggs, who's been on a roof risking life and limb today, but has made it. We are presented. You did, buddy. I'm so happy to see you. We are presented by DraftKings Sportsbook, America's top-rated sportsbook. Download the app. Use the promo code CHGO when you sign up. Nick, you making any bets on this Monday night? You superstar, you making all the dough all the time. DraftKings Sportsbook, let's go.
I'm making DraftKings a lot of money, that's for sure, Mark. So maybe I need you guys some advice for sure.
Well, what are the odds, Mark, on Northwestern having a share of the Big Ten regular season championship?
You know, that's a great point there, Greg. We can't bet on the Cats in Illinois, so
but I can.
But you can because you live in Indiana. So,
right.
I will look that up for you when you're pontificating on one of your pontifications tonight, and we will get there. So, all right. Nicholas Moriano is setting the stage for tonight's show. Oh. He's very annoyed by all the Justin Fields hot takes out there. I think mainly because he had to sit with me and Will DeWitt, mainly me, earlier today and experienced another hot take. But I've been working since I last saw you, Nick, 5 hours ago on my latest thought process for Bears fans. Would you like to hear it, or would you like to talk about what you're most annoyed by in Justin Fields' hot take land?
Yeah, real quickly, let's stare, Mark. I think the longer we go into this offseason leading up to the draft, the more we're going to hear about Justin Fields, whether he should be traded. You're going to hear these big name media people kind of talk about Justin Fields and just everything that they kind of like about him. You hear Shady McCoy, he can't throw. It's like, okay, that's one thing.
Shady idiot.
Yeah, I mean, I wish we got a chance to talk to him during Super Bowl week. That would have been great. But, you also hear, Justin Fields said this about he doesn't like playing in cold weather. Oh, that's like an indication he doesn't want to be a Chicago Bear. It's like, I get it. There's talking points. But I think the one that irritates me the most is probably Shady McCoy, as I was kind of thinking of all the things that have been said about Justin Fields. Like, he can't throw. What do you mean he can't throw? Look what he did at Ohio State. Look at some of the throws he's made, even despite not having good weapons or consistent offensive line play and inconsistent offense. The man can clearly throw, but there's just been a lot of narrative so far, and they're going to continue. And I think this all stems back to the talk I had with a Bears fan and Vikings fan while I was in the sauna, and we just started talking about Bears and Vikings football, and like all these takes. What are you hearing? I'm like, you're going to hear them all by the time the draft rolls around, but it's just a thing to do nowadays.
That's a great question, by the way, for the chat and for you, Braggs. What do you like to talk about in the sauna as Nick hangs out at Bears Fit, and is now boasting on Twitter about how he's lasting longer in the sauna these days, Bears After Dark, because there's sports conversation going on, and he doesn't want to disappoint Bears fans, and he appreciates all the CHGO support. Braggs, would you like to follow up on this before I give you my brilliant take of the day, which is as always brilliant, and I'm excited to
what I would most talk about in a sauna,
or some Fields hot take that bothers you. You're a QB1 guy.
Yeah, I mean, to me, obviously, I think the go-to is that he's just a running back. It's disrespectful, and it's not. It has no foundation, because when you compare, like, the easy thing to do is to compare him to Lamar Jackson or Cam Newton or Michael Vick or whoever. But the thing that I always try to tell people, or, explain to people, watch his college tape. Lamar Jackson and Michael Vick were running quarterbacks in college. He was not. So you can say what you want. He did what he had to do this year. He didn't even run. He wasn't even a running quarterback his rookie year. If this is all he was, this is what he would have been doing his rookie year as well. They honestly unlocked something within Justin Fields that I don't even know if Justin realized he was that dynamic at. Obviously, he knew he was big and he knew he was fast, but I don't know if he realized he could dominate like that with his legs and his athleticism at the NFL level. I really don't know if he actually knew that until they catered the offense to him. He's been a throwing quarterback his entire career, from high school when he was the top quarterback coming out alongside Trevor Lawrence to college when he was the top quarterback alongside Trevor Lawrence. And now he's on a team where he has to run for his life, or every single, like, you look at the possession chart, it would just say punt, 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 turnover, punt, punt, punt. So he did what he had to do, and somehow he gets discredited by media outlets and some Bears fans for doing that. It's crazy to me, and to think that he put up the kind of rushing numbers he did with the lack of talent. I mean, these other players that had all-time great rushing numbers as a quarterback, Lamar Jackson and others, Jalen Hurts this year, they had great teams around them. Justin did this literally all by himself. So, and like I said, to then throw low blows at him and call him a running quarterback when he's capable of so much more, and we have to see if Ryan Poles can unlock that the way Howie Roseman unlocked that for Jalen Hurts, is what I'm excited to see. But some Bears fans, I just think, are a little jaded when it comes to that conversation.
Excellent points. By the way, I am, since we're after dark, I am doing the DraftKings action tonight. I'm taking 17.5 points right now live. Louisville down 7 to Duke. Let's go, Louisville.
And Mark, plus 10,000 for Northwestern to win the national championship.
I mean, that's worth it. That's worth a $5 line. Just throw $5 on there. You made all your, aggressive plays on Kari Blasting game. Might as well throw $5 on the Cats. Greatest story of all time. I'm also taking UC San Diego, getting 7.5, down by 6 with 10:57 to go here. I'm feeling a UCSD rally. All right, this is making my night a lot more fun. So, okay. Thank you to our friends at DraftKings. Let me settle you guys in for a second. All right, because I think this is important, and Bears fans, just come with me. I'm probably going to have the same conversation with Adam Hogue at some point, but I'm going to have it first with you guys.
Uh-oh.
All right, now, who's the just settle in? Who's the best quarterback that's ever worn the orange and blue? Who's number one?
Jay Cutler, I guess.
Jay Cutler. Okay, Jay Cutler. If you were going to compare Jay Cutler to a car, what car would Jay Cutler be? I'll tell you what he would be for me. I'll tell you exactly what he'd be for me. He'd be a broken down BMW that looks nice but always is in the shop.
You know what? You're kind of setting me up for something. Am I allowed to say Jaguar because he represents the first 3 letters of that car?
That would have been great. That would have been even better. Even better. He's a Jaguar. He's a broken down, expensive Jaguar.
The shortened, abbreviated version of what a Jaguar is called.
Yeah. It's the car that looks good, but it's the car that you don't want. And what car would Mitch Trubisky be?
Well, the car he drove. Yeah. What was the car he drove, Nick?
A broken down Camry. That's what he would be, right? All right. My overall point, if I may, is that the Bears at their best have had broken down Jaguars, 1 season of broken down Camrys, and a bunch of bicycles for cars for QBs. That's what we've had our whole time, right? And now we got this Justin Fields. Great job, Ryan Pace. Thank you for the parting gift. And I'm willing to call him a Benz. Fields is a sweet S-class Benz that looks even.
You gotta have something with speed, Carl.
Right. Convertible Benz.
Okay.
I'm riding around in the summer breeze. I'm living my dream, Justin Fields. And I love my Benz. I love taking it out when it's 75 degrees. I'll even take it out when it's 60 degrees to show it off. I certainly love it on a 90 degree. I'm busting out my convertible. I'm flying down. I got the I got the airbags. I got the sweet sound system. I look cool. I'm on a date. She's jumping in. She never wants to leave. Okay, I got my Benz. Now, and Bears fans are so used to bicycles and broken down Jaguars, they're like, I ain't giving up this sweet Benz that I'm finally riding around in. No chance I'm doing that. However, Benz has got a couple years on it. It's getting a little pricier. And now I can give you something that's the same price. It's got 2 years less miles on it and is not actually a Benz, but I like it because I think it's a Rolls. I'm upgrading you to the Rolls Royce. I am giving you the premium vehicle with less miles and even higher up the food chain as far as the cachet is. All right, Rolls Royce rolling up to CHGO, rolling up to Goose Island, to either location. Rolls Royce running around making my bets on DraftKings. Rolls Royce with my shady Rays. Drew TV on the chat on the chat. Like, what is Carm talking about? I'm talking. Come on, Drew TV. Come on, everybody.
This is the Michael Scott version where he starts a sentence, and I don't even know if Mark knows if he knows where it's going.
I'm telling you, as I'm watching the tape, that there is a Rolls Royce sitting out there. His name is Bryce Young. He's coming out of Alabama. He is on a silver platter for the Bears. And I get it. The Bears fans are so damn afraid to trade in this sweet Benz after we've been riding around in a Schwinn our whole life. A broken down Schwinn at that. With all due respect to the couple of years that we had when Jim McMahon was rolling. Check out that interview, by the way, and check out all our Super Bowl coverage on our YouTube page. But a lot of the conversation around Fields is like, we finally got him. And all this time we've had all this time doesn't matter. Where the Bears were quarterback-wise is completely irrelevant. We have to wash our way past that. Moses Moreno, Nicholas Moriano. It's Eric Kramer for a minute, Steve Stenstrom, Cade McNown, whoever you want to name. All that is water deep under the bridge at this point. You have to ask yourself the question: if you have the number one pick and Fields is available and Young is available, who are you taking? That is the question that I hope Ryan Poles is asking himself. And if the answer is Bryce Young, then you are trading Justin Fields. And if the answer is Justin Fields, then you are trading the number one pick. And there's a lot of people out there right now that think that Bryce Young, even though he's small, and that's the terrifying part of him, could very well be the Rolls Royce. So I'm just telling you, as we process this whole thing on the hot takes.
That was a lot. I mean, that was a lot. And it all, like, for me at the start, I couldn't get over the fact that you compared Fields to a Benz. That's just too much luxury. Fields is power and speed. So okay, I'm going with like a Shelby GT 500 or
what?
A Ford Shelby, one of the fastest.
Ford.
Yeah, built Ford tough. I mean, I know, the Lions are the Ford team, but still, like, he's a tough, SOB, right? He runs people over at the goal line, and he's the fastest. So I don't know if it's the luxury when you compare it to cars, but I get your overall point here, and that's you got the car, this luxury car sitting here still with the dealer plates, still hasn't passed 20,000 miles.
Right.
On the gauge.
That's what I'm talking about.
I get it. I get where you're going with this. And we got 40K on the Benz. I get it. I mean, at the end of the day, it's all about what Ryan Poles will do, and we can have our opinions all we want. And I've talked to some really diehard Justin Fields fans. They're Bears fans too, but they are all in on Justin Fields, as we all are. And we had a lot of back and forth because of their frustration about even this being even remotely having this conversation. And I kind of put him up against the wall and said, all right, because they also are all in on Ryan Poles as a GM, and I am too. But I said, if Ryan Poles was in a private room doing his evaluation of Justin Fields, the quarterback, and then the quarterbacks in this draft, and he identified Bryce Young as a better, when he did his evaluation, Bryce Young is the better quarterback than Justin Fields. Would you be okay, Nicholas Moriano, if he made that evaluation and said Bryce Young is better, but I'm not going to tell anybody, but I'm not going to draft Bryce Young? Would you be okay with that? I just ignore the socks because that was random, and tell me if you'd be okay with Ryan Poles knowing his evaluation of Bryce Young is better than Justin Fields, but he still won't draft Bryce Young. Ignore the socks as best you can.
I'm hearing everything you're saying, Greg, but
that was the longest point ever, and you
longest point. Are you seriously telling me that was the longest point ever? After you went on that car tirade for 8.5 minutes, put the socks down. My God, this show has gone off the rails 17 minutes in.
This is After Dark. We are not off the rails, and you got all out of whack on the Benz, and you wanted to name some sad ass Ford vehicle and take this into a line.
Sad. Shelby's are like $80,000 vehicles. Anyway, Nick.
Okay, to answer your question, Greg.
God.
If he, okay, 1 second. Whew.
This is a 30-minute After Dark.
All right,
30-minute episode. What are you? I'm here for 3 hours.
If Ryan Poles is not being honest with himself,
yeah,
but he does like Bryce Young more, how can you trust what he can do as an evaluator if he's not doesn't have the conviction to make that move then? Right? I think you would almost feel more comfortable if Ryan Poles would come out straight out and say, hey, I think Bryce Young's going to be a better quarterback for this franchise moving forward. I have the confidence I can build around him. I'd rather see the GM do that than like almost hide what he's actually thinking. If you know what if that answers your question.
I mean, that's what any fair football person that follows this cannot say, I don't want him drafting Bryce Young no matter what. And that's where it's like everybody that is so, emotionally attached to Justin Fields, as I am and everyone else, is this idea that he can, shut everyone up and go off next year and continue to rise like he did this year. I get it. But at the end of the day, it's about what Ryan Poles thinks. And if he thinks Bryce Young is better, we can say all we want. But if he thinks it, he better draft him. And I don't want to say that, but that is the truth. There's no other way around it.
Hey, Bragalicious.
Yeah.
I don't mean to try to put you into a corner. And I love your
baby in a corner.
Never put baby in a corner. Absolutely not. Baby,
what is with the socks?
What is going on here? Are you barefoot right now?
No. These were on my table, and they are my props for the night. They're working for me. Just go with it. These are my Bears pom poms and my Brags pom poms. So let me enjoy my After Dark experience with the two of you. I've been spending so much time. I slept in a room with Nick for a week. Brags is like. I've never talked to anybody more dead to the world 30 minutes before the show. I'm poking at the bear right now to get him going. Everything's working beautifully here. So just roll with it. Thank you. Now,
I want to be back on the roof. I didn't think I'd say
that. No, you don't. You want to be right here, buddy. You want to be right here with your buddies hashing this out. And what I'm saying is, everything you're saying about if Paul's better, dude, you plant your, stick your Bragsy caboose in the ground and tell me what your evaluation is, or if you need more time to make the evaluation. What are you?
No, I mean, I have already. I just am fine going over this exercise because I think it's healthy and it's a fair one, even though Bears fans don't want to have it. But I don't. Bryce Young is, if you look at every picture, he had a picture come out this week where he's standing next to Mina Kimes. He is as big as Mina Kimes, to put it in perspective. I'm sure he can throw it all over the yard. And I think we as Bears fans all of a sudden want to sell Bryce Young short just to make ourselves feel better about Justin Fields. I'm not going to do that. I'm sure he'll be a very solid quarterback in this league. But I've seen enough from Justin Fields to know just how tough this dude is. When you hear, the cornerback from the Eagles talk about how hard he was to bring down, and Hassan Riddick, one of the toughest players in the league, couldn't bring him down. Bryce Young would have got crumbled up like a pretzel on that sack. Justin Fields just threw him off and said, "Get off me." So I want the tough SOB who can also sling it around the yard. Bryce Young might be the next Patrick Mahomes, as people put it out there, but I'm not risking letting go of what I already know.
Okay. Fair enough. All right. I thank you for allowing me to put you in the corner for a second. You just claw your way out. By the way, Gary in the chat, who is apparently has sources. Polls doesn't even have Bryce as his QB1 on his draft board. I got sources. I would love to know who those sources are. We can talk. I don't want to make you out that on CHGO Bears After Dark, Gary, but you know where to find me on Twitter. And I want to hear about I don't even need to know the sources. You just, I want to know who he has number one then if he doesn't have Bryce Young number one. All I'm telling you, Bears fans, you diehards, and by the way, become a diehard, allchgo.com. We have our special Bears hangout, special Bulls, special Hawks. We had the sweet takeover with the Blackhawks was amazing. Baseball season's coming right around the corner. You want to come on in with a huge discount going to Cubs and Sox, guys? What are you shaking your head at, Nicholas Moriano? I'm getting distracted. I know an
I'm reading the chat.
I know a guy who knows a guy who knows a guy from Jepper OKS in response to Gary's guy that he's going, "Hey, Gary, I believe you, buddy. You got your guy." I don't know who your guy is, but you got a guy. I got a guy too, Gary. I got a guy. You know what a guy told me? I've heard that there's mixed opinions at Hallis Hall as to whether Fields is the guy. That's what my guy said. I can't confirm. I haven't confirmed that. I don't know. What I do know, which we have brought up on this show for the record, is that Fields did get a text from Ryan Poles after he went on the Rich Eisen show and said that he wanted to be informed. And Fields got the text from Poles saying, "If anything's going on, I'll let you know." That was from the horse's mouth. That's what Justin said. That good old Ryan texted him. What you want to read into that? I'm not exactly. I think it's a little interesting myself personally, but who the hell knows? All I'm telling you is that I spent my weekend watching Bryce damn-ass Young throw the football all around the college football field. I'm like, okay. I can see why he's going number one. I can see why they're rating him the top QB. I get it. And I watched plenty of CJ Stroud too, and that dude looks sweet also. So let me just say this. It ain't an easy decision. But if you do decide, like I'm saying, that Bryce Young is a Rolls-ass Royce, well then, hey, dance floor is open. Let's go. Rolls Royce me. I will go for the upgrade and not worry about where we've been and let that be any level of 0.1% of a decision in how they move forward. It does. The Bears' history at quarterback does not matter. What matters is between Fields and Young, or Fields and Stroud, or Fields and Levis. You have to make an honest evaluation. And I'm just telling you, Bryce Young is sweet.
Quick question for you, Mark.
Yeah.
With do you still have how many 5 touchdown games he
5.
had in Alabama? He had 5.
Yeah.
Okay, so I went in and did my own little research here. I was looking at Bryce Young stats. I was looking at Justin Fields stats. Do you know what Bryce Young doesn't have that Justin Fields does, Mark?
Let's hear it, Nick. Give it to me.
How many games has Bryce Young thrown for 6 touchdowns?
Ooh.
I was looking through the games, like, any 6 touchdowns? No. Justin Fields against Clemson in the college football playoff, 6 touchdowns, took that big hit, advanced them to the national championship. I'm like, all right, Mark's boosting up Bryce Young, which, hey, that's good for the Bears, everything. But we have a 6 touchdown game from Justin Fields. Bryce Young can't say that he has that. And to go back to the car analogy here, for me, as I'm kind of evaluating Justin Fields, I'm not comparing him to former Bears quarterbacks and how much better he is. more so comparing him to what the rest of the field is and what good quarterback play looks like and what Justin Fields has already shown and what he's still capable of if you build around him, put the weapons around him. That's how I look at the car analogy. Is he one of those cars that you can put in the lot with some of these other teams that have some of these other high-end vehicles and you feel like you're in the right space? Year 3 is going to be the one. It's going to be the year to tell you that.
Okay, so you're saying
go ahead, Mark.
No, I'm sorry, Nick. I'm just saying you're saying that you're showing up to you're showing up to the baller party, and can you pull up in a Fields basically and win?
Yes, that's how I'm viewing it. And you know what? Right now, we still need to see it because we saw flashes. We saw that good month for Justin Fields, specifically running. But I think when he actually gets the talent around him, and now you're going year 2 with Luke Getsy, when you're going up with that Fields car, you're going to feel pretty good about it in terms of how it's going to compete with some of these other vehicles that they have there.
I got you. I roll it. Listen, if we decide to continue to roll up in my analogy in a Benz, just for the record, I'm all in. I will be very happy winning the Super Bowl, whatever 58, 59, 60 in that Benz. That's cool. I get the decision. I would understand it. But if they decide that they got a Rolls out there and they want to upgrade, I'm with you, Poles.
That's why it's so key to make sure you can trade back and add a future first-round pick for next year. Because then you can get in the Caleb Williams sweepstakes when you're a team that has 2 first-round picks. Depending on where they are, you may or may not land in the spot that he's going to be there, or you can use those to trade up. That's going to be the key because you're going to push your chips all in on Justin Fields here in year 4. But if you give him enough talent around him, which that's Ryan Poles' job this year, and he still doesn't show you enough if you're Ryan Poles, the GM, not us, the fans. I think those are 2 separate discussions that we constantly have. Then you can now it's safe to move on from a guy that is beloved around this city. He's the most beloved quarterback with a losing record. You don't see that often, but that's because Bears fans have been through enough mediocre quarterbacks, as you mentioned, the Honda Civic and Mitch, and then the Jaguar, the broke down Jag with Jay Cutler, and we've seen guys that were okay but not good enough. And I think for Bears fans, we know when a quarterback is bad, and Justin Fields ain't bad. So we want to see this through here in year 4. But if it doesn't work out after year 4 for whatever reason, bad play, injury, or otherwise, then if you can trade back, now you're in the Caleb Williams sweepstakes, along with, I'm sure, a handful of teams in the NFL, which is dangerous because you'll have to give up quite a bit to get them. But you got to do what you got to do at that point. I've thrown out, and people will say, hell no. Mark said, hell no. My guy, David Kaplan, I talked to him on the phone coming back from his vacation. He said, hell no. I said, well, if you're that split on Bryce Young and Justin Fields, they're that close, why not just draft Bryce Young then and let him sit on the bench and never play him and let Justin Fields play all of year 4 and hold Bryce Young hostage against the league and then trade him at some point? And Cap was like, you cannot do that. The locker room will completely rip itself apart for it. And I was like, I don't care. I'm going to do it. Why not? If it's that close and you're that worried about missing on a generational talent in Bryce Young, then just draft him and see, and then let Justin Fields prove it, and then you can trade him anyway. But apparently that's too crazy of a take. But that was one thought I had. I'm not saying I'd do it. It's just a thought.
For a transcript of Bragg's latest traverse through his brain, please email me at the car.
Out of here! You are not. The car rant went on for 13 minutes. You are not even going at me.
If you
had stocks on your ears tonight. You're not even coming at me with this.
If you need a Goose Island beer for Bragg's last thing, it's a good thing because CHGO is supported by Goose Island Beer Company, Chicago's beer since 1988. They're going to be making the Bragg's long-winded beer coming up here as well, along with the Blackhawks Pale Ale, Bull City 312, the Christmas IPA, the Green Line, the Matilda. Your favorite beer right now? What is it? So many options. I'm probably going with the Bull City 312. It's straight delicious. Goose Island 2 locations are open and ready to welcome you. Grab a beer with Greg Braggs from their innovation tanks at the Goose Island Tap Room at 1800 West Fulton, or get a smash burger with Braggs or a fresh beer of the week with Nicholas at the original Clybourne Brewhouse, 1800 North Clybourne. For reservations and pickup, go to gooseisland.com/locations. Goose Island Beer Company, the home of CHGO, the home of Greg Braggs.
Also the home of DraftKings. They have same game parlays, easy and fast payouts, player props, you name it, they got it. And right now, new customers can bet just $5 on any NBA team, NHL team to win their game and get $200 in bonus bets. Right now, what I've been doing with the NFL officially over, trying to dabble into the college basketball. There hasn't been much success, but I'm going to keep on playing and doing it with DraftKings. Maybe I'll bet on some XFL or USFL, whenever that starts up, but we'll see what ends up happening. But first, what you got to do is download the app now and sign up with the code CHGO. New customers can bet $5 and get $200 in bonus bets instantly, only at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NBA with code CHGO. Minimum age and eligibility restrictions apply. See show notes for details.
All right, let's go part 2 after dark. And as everybody obviously knows here in the audio world and on the chat, Greg Braggs is my hero. Greg Braggs makes me better, and I love to have fun at the expense
3
of
Northwestern wins in 1 week certainly does something to you
yes.
that I don't know if I'm ready for any more.
Rank Northwestern.
They're ranked. Okay.
Yeah.
21 in the country.
Which is an undersell, but that's fine. All right. I want to talk about Nick and Will were in a CHGO studio for 7 hours this afternoon, breaking down Bears potential draft picks. I spent my weekend alongside Bryce Young. I went all Alabama this weekend. I did the deep Poppy. You got to stop growling. We got to lay off the growl. We're doing Bears After Dark.
Bite them, Poppy.
Bears After Dark right now, Poppy. We got to chill out. Oh, you want the ball. There you go. I'm sorry. It was underneath my foot. My bad, team. I know we can't see that, but I was torturing the animal. Okay, so I spent my time looking at Will Anderson. And Nick Braggs, I like him. I like him a lot. I love the personality. He is the Bears need a leader on that defense. There was a huge hole when Roquan left. It was talked about by that room that it was pretty quiet. And Jalen is a guy that can step into it. And Eddie Jackson might be a guy that can step into, assuming he's on the roster. We had that discussion a little bit earlier today as to guys that might also go the way of Al-Qadim Muhammad and get cut. Eddie's probably not going to happen, but a name that we'll continue to mention. So, but those would be your top 2 leaders on the defense right now. Jack Sanborn, my guy, is never going to be the vocal guy. As great as Sanborn is going to be on his way to the Hall of Fame, Sanborn is more of a quiet, lead by example guy. And they have a lot of those dudes. So that was one thing that excited me about Will, just listening to him talk and this guy, 17 and a half sacks in one season as a sophomore. And the whole world is coming after him. He still gets 10 as a junior. He's in the backfield all the time. He's not huge though. This is not, he's not physically imposing, which, I think some Bears fans are kind of Leonard Floyding, just getting a little bit nervous that maybe he'll be a guy that, was successful on the college level, but won't be able to dominate on the NFL level. I don't know where you're at with Will, but that I learning and seeing his personality excited me a lot. And he makes a ton of plays that flash. His stats obviously are off the charts. But I didn't come away with it like you have to draft Will Anderson. This guy's an absolute stud. That's not where I got to. I'm curious where you're at, Nick.
Yeah, I think for me, Carm, too, it's like this is a stronger edge class overall than it is about the interior defense alignment. So when you watch Will Anderson, there's a lot of great things on tape. And when you see each of his rushes, he's always constantly moving his hands, setting up his next move for whatever offensive lineman he's going to go against. So I really like that, the power that he plays with. There's a lot of pop when he takes on blockers or when he's making tackles. So that's enticing. But the size is interesting because if you're playing that defensive end in this 4-3 defense, you typically want guys that are a little bit heavier, a little bit bigger. And he was typically rushing in a 2-point stance. What you're going to be asked to do with his 4-3 is put your hand in the dirt. And that you didn't see a lot of it on tape. Doesn't mean that Will Anderson can't do that. I'm sure he can, but it's probably just not the natural thing for him. We saw Travis Gibson kind of go from a 3-4 where he had to stand up, back to hand in the dirt, and then kind of vice versa. And it took him some time to transition. I think a guy with his caliber, he can do it. But for me, there are a lot of edge talent like that Will and I were talking about and a bunch of the draft picks that we were discussing is Tyree Wilson from, Texas Tech is a guy that is a bigger frame, can probably be more what the Bears are kind of looking for at that edge position. So if the Bears were to not draft a Will Anderson because they defer to Jalen Carter, like that's where I'm leaning towards. Like, go get your 3 tech. Let's see if you can find another edge rusher later in the draft that I think fits more 3. But again, if the Bears do draft Will Anderson, they do get an impact player. The fit is a little bit of a question mark.
Braggs, you got a take on this?
No, because then you're going to say I'm long-winded if I start talking here.
Don't.
I am going to do that. So, I mean, to me, worst case scenario is Will Anderson. If they can't find a trade partner, your worst case scenario is Will Anderson. And that is why it was so important that they got the highest pick they could possibly get. And there were people like Chubbs in the chat that wanted the Bears to win as many games as they possibly could. So their worst case scenario wasn't Will Anderson. And now he's in the chat saying, I want Will Anderson. Well, guess what? You only got him because the Bears did exactly what you didn't want them to do during the season. So be quiet, Chubbs. And now my second point is Will Anderson and Jalen Carter are not enough for me to move the needle to not trade back. So I'll take either one of those guys as my worst case scenario, whether it be only being able to trade back to 4 or staying at 1 because there is no trade partner and you take Will Anderson. Great. Worst case. That's an amazing worst case scenario, but I have to trade back to 9. I'm obsessed with trading back to 9. I have to get future first round picks so I can have 2 next year or maybe even 2 the next 2 years. That's going to be what sets this franchise up for years to come. And then I'm going to trust Ryan Poles to find an impact player at 9 because, in my opinion, Will Anderson and Jalen Carter, very good players, but are they generational enough that you cannot move off of that number? I don't believe so. And maybe I'll be proved wrong, but that's where I stand with it.
Just so you know, Gregory, I am pulling that take. That take is getting boiled down into a clip for everyone to digest because it was so damn awesome and so on point. So thank you.
There's one person that gets me fired up. It's Chubbs. He knows that.
Oh, well, I think you should give credit to Carm, who's clearly got under your skin, and you
both are definitely getting under my skin.
You just bottom line to take like no one's ever bottom line to take there, buddy. I love it. I absolutely love that take, for the record. None of these dudes are moving the needle enough for me. I want that 9, and I want next year's number 1 from you, Carolina, and let's go. I feel you. I am riding down Bragg's Lane on that one. You sold me.
Not just a future first round pick for next year, but I also want their second round pick this year, so I can get to the front of the second round.
Dude. You think you're getting that for the 1?
Absolutely. To 9?
You think you can get their 9, their 1 next year, and their second round pick?
Yeah, and more. 100%.
No, I don't think
that is the bottom. That is literally the starting blocks of a conversation. But absolutely, their second round pick this year and their first round pick next year. You're saying they're 9 this year. Well, we're swapping with them with first round picks this year. So that's a wash. I'm not even talking about that. And they're getting a quarterback for their Frank Reich and with their new head coach. So yeah, the second round pick this year and their first round pick next year. That's the starting blocks. I want the second round pick this year and next year and their first round pick and Brian Burns. That's what I want, Mark.
Well, hey, listen, want a lot in life. No reason to not want a lot. But I just, look, when you look at relevant trades, and I'm going to be, by the way, we will be all over the rumor mill. Did I just lose you guys?
No,
nope, we're good.
here.
I hope I didn't. I hope I'm not by myself here. But right now I got spinning screens of Brags and.
Uh-oh.
Pictures-
You can't hear us, Mark?
He can't hear us.
My
Nick.
answer is
This
I'm
a
all
great
over
moment.
Rumorville Central as to what potential any quarterback trades that could happen, i.e., if Baltimore does something crazy and decides to get rid of
Okay, so
This
it's just
is-
Mark that was having
Nick,
difficulties.
Nick, you know what? Me and Mark have railroaded this show as we are notorious for doing. You just give the listeners something good, because I feel like me and Mark have just completely thrown this show into the ground, and I think
No,
people
no,
are
no, no.
starved for an actual sensible take where there isn't screaming or socks in their ears or
I
bad
still
car.
don't understand the socks though.
This-
They were just
you
they
are our
popped out of
only
nowhere.
hope, Nick, to save this show while he's there he is. Shit.
where did you lose me? Because you both started spinning around and I just kept talking and talking and talking to my.
We could hear you.
You could?
Yeah, we could hear
Yeah.
you, see you. It was all working out, Carmen. Then
Oh, that's even worse.
Oh, you are on one today.
I'm not on anything. I couldn't be less on anything. I'm in a good mood. I'm excited to see you. I got my Bears hat. I got my socks. I got my.
the socks are bad.
When you left, I told Nick he was our only hope to save this show while you were gone.
I got my orange slices.
You need an Ethernet cord, I think, is what you need. Less orange slices.
I got my tennis ball. I'm ready. My point where I was at was like, hey, is Lamar Jackson getting traded? And what are people paying for him? I mean, I just think we live in a little bit of reality here as far as what people are worth and what's the number one draft pick worth. I don't.
Well, that's why 9 is more realistic to get a bigger trade package. The trade packages that people are putting together for what we'd get to move back only 3 spots to 4, I feel are unrealistic. But 9, no, when I'm talking about a 1 next year and a 2 this year, that's literally the starting blocks of a conversation.
Yeah, no,
I'm not afraid of saying that that's not nearly enough.
Yeah, no, okay, that fair enough. I suppose that is your 9, your first round draft pick, your second this year, and let's throw in a 4th in there too. By the way, we'll give you a 6th back, no problem. And the beauty of it too, hopefully Carolina sucks. You're right back at the top of the draft. You got multiple picks. I like the way you're dialing this up here.
Well, that's how Poles has to handle this. He has to be like, I always compare him to like a mob boss, the way he carries himself. That's how he's got to handle this. And when Indy calls, he's going to be like, look, unless you're offering me next year's first round pick, I'm not even talking to you because Carolina's already has that on the table. That's how I'm going to convince Indy to come through with their first round pick if they want to, if they're crazy enough to do it. And maybe, their owner, Jim Irsay, certainly is nuts. Maybe they can convince them. If not, then I'm getting my first round pick somewhere else. That's how I'm going to play this.
What was his tweet? He's been a Bears fan, or he's been knowing the Bears for 60 years, and he's on a horse.
He was riding a bear at Lincoln Park Zoo.
Riding a bear at Lincoln Park Zoo. God bless you, Jim Irsay.
And hey,
yeah.
And you get the combines coming up. Jim Irsay is going to be there. Work it out right then and there. Put all your money on the table there.
We're working on all the details on that, buddy. But rumor has it that you might be coming to Indy. Is that?
Hey, I haven't heard such rumors, but my sources aren't as good as yours.
I do have better. I think I do have better sources in this particular scenario here. So all I know is that me and Nick had shared the same room in Arizona, and it's going to be very hard for me to give that up. But maybe we can get a 3 lot here. Me, Nick, and you. I mean, I would go 3 with you guys and leave Hogue by himself just to hang out and hear both of you snore and tell stories all the way into late at night. I'll bet you Braggs was just the kid that you did not want sleeping over because he just never wanted to go to sleep and talked all night. Am I right about that?
You got that 100% right. But I was the kid you did want over because we didn't go to sleep all night and we were just going crazy.
And then you got up in the morning and you wanted to watch the cartoons and Smurfs and have pancakes, Life cereal, something along those lines.
Yes, my mom is famous for making lettered pancakes.
Oh, Barb.
Wow.
And when we were in high school and we'd be stoned out of our minds, my friends would be like, Braggs, is she going to make lettered pancakes? And then my mom would be making us lettered pancakes for us in the morning.
You guys were in high school having sleepovers and getting high, and your mom was making you pancakes?
I mean, those things did occur, yes.
That's great.
My poor
Who did it, Mark? Who did it?
I not me at all. But that's fantastic. Congratulations.
Those moments did occur, yes.
Yes,
We can relive that.
Was that high school or like mid-20s?
No, it was high school.
Okay. All
It was
right.
high school.
Just making sure. But before I got one thing I want to hit on the quarterback thing. And by the way, Braggs, I sent you an email that you can talk about in a moment here if you would like, because I know you love to talk about our fine partners. So there's something.
There's nothing I love more. I mean,
Yes,
do you want me to talk about them now?
Sure.
Because
Why
that's
not?
what I love to talk about is our great partners here at CHGO. One of them being Game Time. Game Time is the hottest new ticketing site that makes it easier than ever to score the best deals on tickets to sports, concerts, and shows. Ever dreamed of sitting in a seat you never thought you could, Chubbs? Well, 50-yard line, courtside, behind home plate, floor seats at a concert, it's possible with the Game Time app. The biggest last-minute price drops can be found on the seats you thought you could never buy, Jonathan Otten. You won't find a better deal this season on any Bulls game, Northwestern Wildcats game, upcoming Big Ten tournament at the United Center, and I know we're all going to be there, created by the fans, for the fans, guaranteeing the lowest prices. If you love CHGO, then you'll love Game Time. The best way to support us is by buying your tickets through the link in the description. Join over 15 million people who have downloaded the Game Time app and score the best seats to all your favorite events.
Excellent job, and I love Game Time tickets, and I recommend that you buy Big Ten tournament tickets through Game Time to go see the Northwestern Wildcats beat Purdue in the championship game and walk off the court with the purple singing. Oh, this is going to be awesome. Hey, Nick, spoiler alert, give me a Nicholas Moriano 719 on Bears After Dark, February 20th, someone that you talked about today that has you excited when you think about what could possibly happen come April, the late April weekend, 27, 28, 29.
Yeah, I mean, obviously we talked about a lot of players, Will and I, earlier today, and those videos will come out in the next couple of days, couple of weeks, I would think. But a player that, as I was watching film and just seeing how could this guy impact the Bears in a positive way. I mean, I've been really trending on receivers right now, and I don't know if this guy's going to be potentially there when the Bears are looking, but the trade back scenario does change things. But Zay Flowers from Boston College is a guy that I really like in terms of the explosive plays he can create and the yards after catch that he does so consistently at Boston College and what he can transition to the NFL game. Simple screen pass. He knows how to take the ball up vertically. Something that we just don't see in this Bears offense. He's elite at just changing direction on over routes over the middle of the field, constantly creating separation. I wish he was at the Senior Bowl. He actually played at the East-West Shrine Bowl game, so I was a little jealous I didn't get to see him in person. But the more I watch of him, and I see already these mock drafts, he's going in mid-first round, 20 to 25. I'm like, can he just drop a little bit? He's only 5'10", 172 pounds, smaller guy, built like a Darnell Mooney, but it's another playmaker, Carm. And I think anytime you can add some of those guys to this Bears offense, You're just giving more for Justin Fields to work with. And we know he has a cannon for an arm. You just need some vertical threats downfield and to work over the middle of the field to actually, utilize. And I think, Zay Flowers can provide that.
Where do you have him taking him or hoping to take him?
So if you trade back with the Colts, maybe with that 35th pick, and that's I think even a little later that then he would probably go, but you never know how the draft works. Maybe one team will.
Nick, you wrote the article about DeAndre Hopkins, and I'm just hung up on DeAndre Hopkins, and I don't care what anybody says. I want DeAndre Hopkins because it's a low risk. Yeah, you got to pay a lot of money up front. So his contract is what it is, but it's only for a couple more years, right? And so what's the risk there? Now you've got him locked in for 2 more years. Then you have to make a decision on Chase Claypool or Darnell Mooney. Are you going to extend either one of them? And then I'm taking Booty from LSU. I keep calling him Booty. I don't know if that's exactly how it's pronounced. Keyshawn Booty, I believe is hey, get him in the 4th round. He's caught up in all this crazy stuff here in the off season that is making his draft stock good. I hope his draft stock keeps falling, and then we can draft him in the 4th round. He's a high-end talent. You can develop Booty, and then every time he scores, the PA guys can play booty call. And I mean, to me, what better than that?
I mean, anytime you get a chance to take advantage of the booty, you got to do it. I think you're speaking after dark language right now. Excellent name to throw out. A lot of people apparently like to, do a little bit of the wacky tobacco and enjoy the show. Appreciate those that action in the chat. That's fantastic. Bragg, should we tell the our more recent story of hanging out where things went a little sideways, or should we save that? Nick,
you already teased it. Now Nick's curious.
I'm curious now. Now you have to share. It is
literally the funniest thing in the world, Nick.
It wasn't very funny. In fact,
it actually was the funniest thing.
It was mortifying, is what it was. But it's a good way to wrap up after. Let me just give one more football point, and then I'll do this because I know everybody.
There for you guys.
Daniel Jones wants $45 million a year, and he's probably going to get it. So for those of you, as we wrap around the conversation here, Justin Fields is going to get paid $50 million if he has a good season this year when his contract is up. He's going to be getting paid as much as Patrick Mahomes. So
and the Daniel Jones thing, more importantly for this year in the immediate is, Nick, do you think that means they cannot pay Saquon Barkley? Or is that just them, still playing, a little staring down contest there?
Well, that's where it gets complicated when you pay the quarterback as much as he's looking to get, and then you have the running back that has been rumored wanting $16 million a year. Like, that's where it gets complicated. But they don't have a lot of weapons right now that they're actually paying on the offensive side of the ball, or even defensive guys. So they have cap space. You can make it work because you see teams like Minnesota is going to be in that problem too with Justin Jefferson, Dalvin Cook, Kirk Cousins, and we'll see how which one of those guys. It's probably going to be Dalvin Cook that they're going to have to figure out what to do. So it's a situation that teams they do run into, but I wouldn't say it's like, oh, because you pay Daniel Jones, you can't keep Saquon. You have to find the right price.
What about for the Bears with Saquon Barkley? Are you opening up the checkbook no matter what his asking price is? Mark has a better sock face on.
I'm not.
They're not paying Saquon. They're not.
I would love a running back that gets more than 1 20-yard carry on a season.
Hey,
I know you guys love guys that only get 1, but I'd like 2 or 3 maybe.
You don't have to sell me on wanting to watch Saquon each week. I would be interested in that, but they're not doing it. I'd be stunned. And Gary, I see you, buddy. Everybody else does that too. And listen, it's true. He can ask for 45. He might not get it. He's going to get close to it. And okay, yeah, that's right. They can tag him for $32 million, which is not the road that you want to go down either. So I'm just pointing out that it's going to get very expensive with Fields very soon, and you've got a lot of needs to build around this roster. So the old win the championship on the QB rookie deal, like the Chiefs were fortunate enough to do with Patrick Mahomes before paying him and winning it again. By the way, that guy's about to be the 10th highest paid quarterback in the league when this whole quarterback cycle comes through. Somehow, some way, the Chiefs are going to have a bargain. By the way, the Chiefs also are middle of the NFL in salary cap space available. They're 16th. Throw in the fact that how many people in Kansas City thought that they were making a good decision when they got rid of Tyreek Hill? Not that many. It wasn't popular. And that's what Brett Veach had the you-know-what to do. They won the damn Super Bowl in a rebuild year, and now they've got all sorts of options. They got extra draft picks, not premium picks, but they got mid-round extra picks. So Kansas City's a straight problem. And they made some bold moves that weren't popular. All right, now to wrap up the show, Braggs and I were hanging out, and I had made the moronic decision. There's no other word for it.
This is the funniest thing.
That I was gonna get a couple of cigars and hang out with my guy, Greg Braggs. We're going to smoke a cigar because Braggs is always like, I always see him on the Twitter and he's smoking his cigar and he looks so cool. And I want to be cool like Greg Braggs. And we were at the Super Bowl, Nick, and there were cigars down there. And I had a couple puffs of the cigar and I'm like, I'm cool too. So I'm going to get my cigar. And I went into the cigar store. The guy's like, what kind of cigar do you like? I got no idea, bro. Hook up a guy. Give me a recommendation. I'll whatever you think is good, I'm down. Well, do you like him strong? Do you like him this? Do you like, dude? I have no idea. Just give. And so he still continued. Went down. Went off the reins. And so whatever. He gives me these two. I think they were like bold cigars. And so Braggs and I are smoking this cigar outside the old Billy Goat Tavern.
Okay.
All right.
This was a complete shit show because I'm trying to explain to Mark, like, these are big cigars, like I get the, because our guy,
it's a big cigar.
Yeah. Like I try to warn him, like, if you're just starting, the big cigars can be a lot. It's a lot of tobacco at once. I get the half cigars because, they can be a lot. And so he busts out these gargantuans. I'm like, okay, like, we'll I was like, just take your time with it. Not only he had no idea how to smoke the cigar, Nick. He was chewing on the end of it.
I slobbered all over it.
It looked like his dog Poppy was chewing on the end of this cigar. He couldn't get it lit. The way he was puffing, trying to get the cherry going, you can tell he never had smoked a blunt in his life because he's like,
it was terrible.
I'm like, what are you doing? And the whole time I'm just cracking up. We're behind the Billy Goat in the back parking lot, just giggling like a couple schoolgirls. And finally he gets the thing going. And then I used the cutter to cut off the part he had completely chewed off.
Yeah.
And now he's going. But now he's like burning through it faster than I've ever seen anyone smoke a cigar. And I warned him like 5 times, like, it's a lot of tobacco, Mark. And he's like, oh no, I'm good. And you can keep going with it, Mark. But
right. So I was like, I was like, this sucks. I can't get this thing going. And then I got to go. I'm like, getting into this. I'm really enjoying this cigar. It's great to hang out with you, Greg. I love doing it. Bears After Dark with you. And
we started talking about movies. He told me I wasn't cultured because I hadn't seen 80s Bull Durham.
Dude hasn't seen The Natural. Dude hasn't seen Bull Durham. Dude hasn't seen like anything of like.
So now he's like Tony Soprano puffing on this cigar, yelling at me about how I don't have any culture.
Yeah, that did happen. It was a hot take show here in the parking lot. As I say, I like to do the show in the parking lot. So, at any rate, we finished the cigar. And I'm like, all right, let's go back in. And as I'm walking back in, I'm like, I'm in trouble, like big trouble. And I don't know what I'm feeling right now, but this is not good. So he's like, you want to get out or you want to drive back? I'm like, let's just sit down and have one drink and so I can just calm down. So I sit down to have the drink. I'm there for 3 seconds. I'm like, I will be back. So I went into the
Yeah,
I went
he
into
doesn't
the old
say any. He actually didn't say anything. We go inside. I go. We're gonna have a quick drink. He goes, yeah. Sit down, and he just disappears. He leaves his phone. I thought maybe because we went and had lunch, I thought he was going down the street to grab his hat that he was saying he left at this diner down the street. So he's gone that long, and I'm like thinking to myself, I'm like, well, he's got to be coming back. His phone is right here. Maybe he went to go get his hat. Then I start to realize, I'm like, something's amiss.
Yeah.
I go into the bathroom. I look under the stall, and there's Mark's shoes. I'm like, you all right there, buddy? He's like,
No.
I'm okay. I'm not okay. I need like 10 minutes. And I just walked out of the bathroom. I was like, oh, no.
I sat down on the toilet. I leaned up against the wall. I was breathing for the life of me. I was like, and I literally was having a full fight. You are not going to throw up. You are not going to puke. This is not going to happen. You are going to take the pain until this is over with. And I was in there probably for a half an hour. Is that about right? I have no idea how long it was.
Absolutely.
People kept filtering in because who's the guy in the bathroom at the goat?
The guys that make the burgers kept coming, shuffling back and forth, checking on him because they weren't sure what he was doing in there. They probably thought he was doing.
I was sweating like a pig. I took my coat off. I unzipped my pants. I was so unbelievably miserable, and I was like, this will never happen again. I am old man Carm. You're not cool.
When we were smoking it, he's like, what's the point of these? What's the point of these? There's nothing that happens to you. I'm like, Mark, it's a lot of tobacco. You're going to feel a buzz at some point.
Yeah, well, and I didn't listen. It was a horrible job. And then like finally I was able to get out of the stall and get to the sink, and I'm like sipping water to get out of the sink to get out of there. And like people are walking like, I'm like, yeah, that's right. That's right, buddy. I'm drinking out of the sink at the goat after a cigar.
It was like when I was like 21 walking out of Billy Goat. Like we didn't even have a drink. He didn't even finish his, and I'm basically carrying Mark out of there over a cigar.
So
and
right,
it's like it wasn't like my days of high school, smoking, passing the blunt around. It's a cigar,
right?
And he just and then he kept telling me, we get in the car. He's like, never again. Never again.
And so I'm like, all right, it's time to go, but I still don't. I feel terrible, and I don't want to hit a bump on the road. I don't want to hear a sound. And Braggs gets in the car, full Braggs level conversation. I'm like, please stop talking. Just don't say a word. Just don't say.
I was like, I tried telling you, Carm. He's like,
please, nothing. I don't want to hear about Justin Fields.
You're fine. Suck it up.
You're fine. I'm not fine. I'm most definitely not fine. In fact, I'm in bad shape. But all's well that ends well.
I think your next step is
that was great. That was great. But Carm, you said never again. What if I say like, hey, I've never smoked a cigar before in my entire life? I'm like, Mark. Yeah. We gotta smoke a cigar. Are you doing it or what?
No, Nick, absolutely. I'll hang with you, buddy. I'll light it for you. But you're on your own. I'll
you got scared away now.
I'll hook you up with Braggs. He'd be more than willing to do it and be your cool guy.
Carm, were you inhaling it?
Of course I was inhaling it, Joey.
You're not supposed to inhale it.
I got it, Joey. I got it. I got it.
I'm just like, okay, well, I'm just,
I needed you there. Joey,
Braggs.
And our guy Jared that covers the Cubs here at CHGO, who also looks like a Billy Badass when he smokes cigars. He's going to be very disappointed in you.
Joey, I'm sorry to let you down, and really all of CHGO down. Honestly, it was. But
it was the funniest thing I've ever seen in my life.
I mean, it was. I got home and I did not feel good for another 6 hours, and I think I woke up the next day and it was still on me. But we're good. We're good now. We're good now.
Never a dull moment.
Yeah,
Mark and I. Specifically Mark.
Whew, yeah, stogies with Braggs.
Well, the best part was because I've been through these situations in my life a few times before. Sometimes I'm the one, causing the ruckus, or sometimes it was my friends. So like this time I felt so relieved that this happened to Mark, but it wasn't my fault. This was all Mark's fault. He bought the cigars. He encouraged to go smoke them. We go to the bill. It was
100%.
all Mark's idea. And I continued to warn him throughout that it was going to hit him at some point. So I covered all my bases where I cannot be blamed for this. That was the most I was worried about, because it felt like high school all over again, carrying Mark out of a bar, maybe a little out of high school. Whatever.
No, let's not go too crazy. You didn't carry me out, but yes, this was 1,000% on me. I walked out of there, brick by brick, barely, but I did walk out of there.
Then he drops me off in my car, and he goes to pull away, and I'm still just laughing my ass off at this whole thing. And he's sitting in his car, getting ready, trying to build up the courage to drive home.
Oh, it was so bad. And all I gotta do is get to the South Loop from the West Loop, and it was there was so much traffic on Roosevelt. I'm like, please.
I'm parked, and I'm looking over at him, and he pulls out, and he's like hunched over while he's driving, giving me the most miserable look. And I'm like, bye, Mark. It was the funniest thing I've ever seen in my life.
It was.
Somebody said your next step is ayahuasca in a dark room for 5 days, like Aaron Rodgers, and then we document the whole thing.
Right. I'm gonna stay sober for a little while here, or an occasional. But other than that, that's all we're doing. And Nick, I will tell you that in my head, I'm at least minorly considering, just because we got to be teammates here. So I'm saying no, but I'm not. But I'm not.
Rock says the least Bryce could have done was have his mom make Carm some lettered pancakes.
Damn right.
The next morning.
True.
And somebody, hold on, let me see. Larry Lapper. Mark, was your father a football coach? No, but since you brought up my dad, it gives me an opportunity to boast on him. So that's a rare thing. Freddie Carmen, the great Freddie Carmen, was a QB and a linebacker for Marshall High School back in the day. And then he went to Western Illinois and intercepted, he says 4, but I think it was 2 passes in his first ever collegiate game. And then he went to the Army and took down Hitler in World War II. Freddie Carmen, ladies and gentlemen. But no, he was never a football coach, but loved playing the game. And that era that I grew up in, everything in my household was Gale Sayers, and Gale Sayers. And then Braggs gets on the show. He's like, yeah, Devin Hester's better than Gale Sayers. I mean, literally my whole childhood was like, Gale Sayers is the greatest athlete to ever do anything. If Sayers hadn't gotten hurt, it was like that was what it was. And then when Jordan broke his foot in year 2, well, Gale Sayers didn't make it in his career. I'm like, you will stop saying that right now. Like, Jordan's going to be okay. And he was. All right, we're way over time. So thank you for watching tonight. A lot of fun.
Great show. Great show.
I'm sorry, Nick.
No, this is what After Dark's all about. We can kind of like, be a little bit more loose. You can have socks on the show. You can tell stories. You do whatever you want on After Dark. And that's why you need to be a part of the CHGO community, our dark community. You get this times like 100 in all of our hangouts that we have. So you definitely got to check those out. And
I think what a Bulls happy hour is tomorrow, right?
Is that when it is scheduled?
I'll just stop talking about
the celebration of Pat Beverly happy hour.
I don't even know if that's true. I'm like, my days are
there is a happy
so
hour.
I'll just stop talking.
Hold on, I can hold on.
I'll just stop. I don't even know why I said that. I feel like it was tomorrow or Wednesday, but I don't know. But that is why somebody asked earlier in the chat, way early in the show, like, I'm thinking about becoming a diehard and what are the perks to it. And that's certainly, like I've said before, it's definitely one of my favorite parts of the perk of being a diehard, because then we get to meet some of you people that are in the chat every day, really loyal fans, and we appreciate that. And it's more of an intimate hangout, kind of like what we're doing here, telling these stories, but you get to be involved in the conversation as well with us, and it's a lot of fun. And I encourage anyone that gets in on this, because then you also help then you can also be in included in these events that we do, whether they're tailgates or, watch parties or going to the games. They just did a Blackhawks one here recently in the Goose Island room that's attached to the United Center.
Mm-hmm.
Sure, we'll have another Bulls one here at some point. And yeah, when Bears season comes around, we do tailgates for every home game. So there's just a lot of stuff. And then there's additional content that you have access to. These guys are working hard putting together their free agency list and draft board and breaking those things down. And those are things that you can have access to that nobody else does. So there's definitely some perks to this stuff.
Yeah, and okay, I finally found it. So, and we'll go in a second. But look, here's the schedule. There's a Bulls happy hour on Wednesday, February the 22nd. So 2 days from now, Blackhawks happy hour Wednesday, right. March the 1st. So those are both coming up. And yeah, hang out with. I mean, come on. You get to hang out with Jay and Mario and Greg, and then you get to hang out with Peck and Big Dave and Mark K and Will Gottlieb. I love those guys. So, anyway, those are the two happy hours coming up. There will be a Bears one coming after that, too. So, anyway, thanks so much, everybody. We will see you tomorrow at noon. Adam Hogue back. Nick will be there tomorrow. Braggs is in studio on Wednesday. Have a great night. And again, for a transcript for any of Greg Braggs' takes, just send me an email at
get out of here.
mark.carmen@gmail.com. We love you guys. A lot of fun. See you next time.